Okay, I'm back, and we're going to solve a couple of these compiler errors or warnings. So we've got some warnings here associated with the chapter class. So in the file included from chapter.cpp, my implementation file, in the header file, we have a constructor, a parameterized constructor that takes in two parameters, a string by constant reference and a vector of type excerpt by constant reference. And we've got a couple warnings. So we've got chapter number will be initialized after std vector of type excerpt is initialized. So we've got some reorder warnings, which means that I've declared my instance variables in the class file in a different order than I've initialized in the constructor. So we'll look at that. And then we will also take a look at an undefined reference to riddle already asked, and then whatever other errors we end up getting. So in the chapter, let's start with the chapter header file. So here is on line 19 and 21, as you can see from the line numbers associated with these errors, our instance variables for excerpts and chapter number. And the issue that we're having is the constructor, it's a parameterized constructor, takes in two parameters, a string reference the name and a string and a vector of type excerpt called excerpts. But I can already see that the order is different. So here I've declared excerpts and then name, but in here the constructor is name and excerpts. And I guess I'm not really sure where chapter number is. It's been a long time since I wrote this code. I've been wasting most of my time actually trying to fix it. So that's that. So let's look in the implementation file. And obviously same thing, the name comes first, the excerpt, that makes sense. But in the initialization list, I initialize name. Okay, here's another thing. I initialize name and then excerpts. But before that, I do chapter number. So that's why I didn't include chapter number as a parameter, because I'm just incrementing the static variable I've associated with this class. So, but the order doesn't match up. So we need to fix that. What we can do, first of all, one way to fix it is we could just change the order of this. So I could put name, excerpts first, and name. That would match up with this, but that still wouldn't help with the chapter number thing. That needs to be changed. But I want to keep this order here. I want name to be initialized first and then excerpts, because I think the first argument to a chapter should be its name as opposed to the excerpts. So right away we're going to change this by moving this up here. Like I said, we could have changed the order here, and that would have solved that issue. We still have to fix the chapter number issue, but I want to keep this order the same. Plus, doing it here, I only have to do it once. The instance variables are only in the header file, so I only have to change the order once, whereas if I fix the constructor, I have to do it twice, both in the header file and the implementation file. But anyway, let's go to the implementation file, and let's put this at the end so the order matches up. Oh, you know why I think why that was there? Is because... No, never mind. Just thinking of something else. So that hopefully should solve that. What's going on here? Oh, this is just indicating pass by value and use std move. I should use move and stuff. That's some optimization stuff we might do after, but first we just want it working. So that should actually help with the order thing. I might just rerun this and see if that works for that. It won't solve everything. It just might solve those two things. The riddle thing we'll have to solve separately. Let me just look to make sure everything's good. Okay. Well, let's see if this works to solve those things. Actually, let's look at the riddle as well. Riddle class, just so we don't have to run twice. So I have declared riddle already asked. Riddle already asked. I've declared that. It says unidentified reference. Oh, undefined reference. Okay, so I've declared it right here, and I've obviously never defined it in the implementation folder. So it should be at the top. No, that's because it is commented out. So let us uncomment that out, and that should work. And we can just initialize that if we want. It doesn't really matter. This will just initialize it to false. I could be more explicit. Initialize it to false. So, I mean, technically it won't have been asked. That should solve that issue. Let's hopefully see if we can get rid of some of these errors. This is always the waiting game. So even once we get all these errors solved, there's definitely some optimizations I still need to do in the program. But, you know, time is ticking, so I do need to get this figured out. But a lot of thinking that's happening. The compiler's deciding, you know, what to yell at me for next. And it compiled. So it compiled. No issues right now. Well, there you go. I did notice, actually, without going away, I'm super stoked that compiled, though. But I did notice some issues when I was looking at excerpt a second ago. I've got some efficiency stuff that I'll have to look at. But you know what? I'm not going to touch it right now because I'm happy the code compiled. But like, where was I looking at? It was in the implementation folder for, as I was iterating through excerpts. No, sorry, it was in the chapter folder. So I was looking at this. In this method, display excerpts, I'm iterating using a range-based for loop to iterate through the collection excerpts, which is just, again, is my, you know, vector of excerpt. So I'm iterating through the vector, pulling out an excerpt at a time, and I want to show the excerpt. And then I want to set show text to false because I don't want it to show the next time I go in the room or location. And I want to set show previously shown true because it will have been previously shown. However, I realized that I'm not doing this by reference. I'm just pulling it out. So I'm creating a copy here. So whatever I do here doesn't actually persist into the excerpt. So I do need to do that by reference. I'm actually hesitant to do anything at this point considering I just compiled. But let's do it anyway because we know it does have to be pulled out by reference. But there's a few things like that I just noticed, but I didn't want to necessarily do it just to, I didn't want to cause any issues. This should have the excerpts class in it. Maybe I should include that header file. I just realized I don't have the excerpts header file in my CPP file. Although I guess I really don't need it because I have it. Yeah, I have it here in the chapter.h header file, so there's really no need for it here. Just leave it like that. But yeah, I noticed this a second ago when I was looking at things, and it wasn't an error, and obviously still not an error, but it definitely is a logical error in the sense it wouldn't have done what I wanted. So that's pretty good. I'm going to shut that down for now. I'm going to try something and then come back. But no errors at this moment, so pretty stoked.